Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast. This is a community for purpose-driven women who desire to live their dreams and aspirations. Our mission is to inspire you to live your dreams one day at a time while serving as a beacon of hope and guidance. We will be addressing various issues related to womanhood. Join me as we explore our journey of life together. I am your host, Uyime Hamilton. Hello, ladies. You're welcome to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. It's great to have you on the show today. Today, we're going to be exploring the topic 10 ways women can improve their mental health. When we hear the word mental health, we talk about a state of well-being in your mind that enables you to cope with the stresses that life brings your way. And how do you handle stressors in your life? And through the process, how do you still balance living a healthy life where you are productive, irrespective of the stressors you encounter in life? That's what mental health is all about. And according to the World Health Organization, research has shown that approximately 1 out of 5 women globally experience mental health disorder at some point in their lives. So when we talk about mental health and we talk about mental illness, there are two different things. When you're talking about mental illness, that's when you begin to experience certain symptoms as a result of a derangement in your mental state. So when you have your normal health, which is you are in a state of well-being mentally, that is mental health. But the moment that you are not in that state of mental well-being and you begin to experience certain signs and certain symptoms as a result of a destabilization in your mental health, that gives rise to mental illness. Throughout the course of the week, we've actually explored on our social media pages about the basics you need to know about mental health and mental illness. So women basically are at risk of developing mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, but to mention a few. And why are women prone to developing mental illnesses compared to men? When you look at biological factors, that's the hormones that women have. Most of the illnesses that are associated and peculiar to women has some form of background in relation to hormonal fluctuations. For a woman, she undergoes a lot of changes at different stages of her life, beginning with menarche, that's when she starts menstruating, and all that has to do with hormones. Then to the point of reproduction, which is pregnancy. During the course of pregnancy, there are a lot of hormonal changes from what it would be in a non-pregnant state, down to the point of menopause, where you also experience hormonal changes. So when you look at these hormonal changes has a lot to also do with how women's bodies respond, and not just how their bodies respond, but how mentally their brain responds. We know that the brain coordinates a lot of activities that goes on in the body, and the brain stimulation is in relation to hormones. There are certain hormones that are in the brain that need to be released to the organs for the organs to do what they need to do. So at different stages of a woman's life, when a woman begins menstruating and there is a peak of hormonal change, that season of her life is a stressing season. And if you couple these biological factors during menstruation, during pregnancy, that's why you see some women that are pregnant, they would start having mood changes, mood swings, a lot of changes going on, especially mentally. And also during the course of menopause, it's the same thing. So also, women are exposed to psychosocial stressors. Like I know recently I was checking out something online, and just going through social media, I discovered that um, a particular high profile personality who was engaged in some form of infidelity and all that. And when I went through the comment section, I was just seeing how people were hailing him, you're a legend, you're a this, you're a that. And on a second thought, I was like, if it's a woman who is high placed in society and goes through this kind of scandal, you would see the bashing that will follow the act of that woman. And that's the thing we experience in our environment, especially in low to middle income earning countries, or developing countries as we would call it commonly. Women are sort of at a vulnerable point, or are placed as the vulnerable population when it comes to certain things. So these psychosocial stressors, these social norms of, oh, for a woman, when it comes to fidelity, you can't even think of a woman having two husbands, or a woman moving from one place to the other. When it comes to her fidelity, it's questionable. When it comes to her fertility, you would see the pressure. Even if a woman is so successful but doesn't have a child, society will not rate her as they would to be accomplished as a woman. So that pressure of trying to meet up with societal expectations and the gender norms, it's a whole lot for women to deal with, and that can also affect their mental health. Then when you also talk about trauma, when women have been exposed to trauma, either as a result of childbearing or pregnancy, or domestic violence, or sexual assault, or whatever it may be, whatever traumatic experience a woman is exposed to, research has shown that women tend to develop post-traumatic stress disorder higher than men do. So these are just a few factors that places women as a vulnerable population when it comes to their mental health. So we're not disputing the fact that men do not go through mental health or are not prone to mental illnesses. We're just saying that these are certain factors that makes women more prone to developing mental illnesses compared to men. So the aim of this episode is basically, as women, now research has told us we are prone to developing mental illness. What can I do today to ensure that I have a, a healthy mental state, and I am not amongst that population that would in turn develop mental illness? Also, this is not disputing the fact that women who experience mental illness are not valued or are looked down on. I am a public health practitioner, and I am on for promoting healthy living, and that is through prevention. So if we have a certain population of women who have developed mental illness, and you are amongst the population that has not developed mental illness, what can you do to ensure that you improve your mental health and you're not at risk of mental illness? Secondly, if you are amongst the population as women who are currently experiencing mental illness or have experienced it in the past, and maybe you are in a safe space at this point in time, what can you still do to ensure that you do not progress from the current state you are in when it comes to your mental illness to a worse state? So we're talking to people with regards to prevention of mental illness, and also we're talking to people with regards to maintaining a healthy mental state, even if you are already diagnosed with a mental illness as a woman. So let's get right into the 10 things you can do today to improve your mental health as a woman. The first, and I'm saying this in no particular order, the first thing is to engage in healthy activities that make you happy and improve your productivity. One thing that I've come to know is as women, you are in control of how you live your life. Even if you share your life, whether you're married or single, you share your life with loved ones, it doesn't dispute the fact that you are the one in the driver's seat of your life and you have a major role to play in how you live your life. So identify what activities makes you happy. And when we talk about these activities, we're talking about healthy activities because there are some unhealthy activities that would make you happy but will not promote your health. So that's not it. What healthy activities do you enjoy doing and can engage in to maintain a healthy mental state and improve your productivity? Women were created to be helpers, to be helpmates. So women were created to do. We were not created to just sit and watch things happen. We were created to do. So if you are not productive in anything you're doing, you are not maximizing your full potential as a woman, and that alone makes you prone to developing mental illness. So it's important to engage in healthy activities that make you happy and improve your productivity. The next thing you can do to improve your mental health is to build a support system depending on what your needs are. Very important. Build a support system. No woman should operate in isolation and as an island. Sometimes as women tend to want to lean on people. Women love support. Women are emotional beings. Most times, women don't do best at thriving alone. For men, if they don't have association per se, they can cope because what drives them is their work. But for women, what drives us is our companionship. So no matter how productive you are in whatever aspect of your life, if there is no companionship that you are surrounded with, you would observe that there's something missing. You will feel that void. That's why you see for some women, if they can't succeed in getting married or they get married and their marriage doesn't work, they would look for something to channel that companionship into, and they could tell you, oh, I would want to adopt a child, or I want to get a surrogate or whatever. They just need someone in their corner. That's why you see some women, when you tell them how many children do you want to have, they will tell you, oh, I want to have 3. Then after they've had 3 and stayed for a while, and maybe those 3 have grown to some extent, they will tell you, okay, I think I need to have one more baby. That's nurturing quality and companionship quality in the woman is what makes her to seek some form of support where she can channel her energy to. So it's important as women to build a support system depending on what your needs are at that point in time. Don't deal in isolation. If you are faced with circumstances that tends to put you in form of isolation, try to break that barrier. If, for instance, you are a stay-at-home mom, build a support network, be involved with, have some form of community that you are involved with. Make friends depending on what your needs are. So it's important. Don't be limited in your support system. For women too that are married, it's important for you to know that your husband, when it comes to companionship and support, shouldn't be your only support system. If not, you will wear him out. So it's important that you have a broad support network and not limit your support network to just one person. So the third thing you can do to improve your mental health is to set realistic goals. So if you're setting goals on what you want to accomplish, ensure that there are goals that are realistic, something that you know you could actually achieve. And women also tend to impacted by comparison. Women love to compare themselves. Even if a woman is doing well, she would look for something that maybe she's not so good at and begin to second guess herself and compare herself with someone she feels may be doing better than she is. So, as a woman, you need to understand that if you're able to set realistic goals, it helps you to review your productivity. So now you're not comparing yourself with someone else. You're comparing yourself and your achievements with the goals that you have set for yourself. When the goals are realistic and achievable, you would know that, okay, this my goal is realistic and achievable. How far have I gone in achieving this goal? And what can I do to improve and ensure I achieve this goal? So when you do this, it reduces the need for you to compare yourself with someone else. It reduces the need for you to become depressed that things are not working out, even if you face challenges in the process of achieving your goal. So that's the importance of setting a realistic goal. You compare yourself with your goal and not with others. So the next reason is to practice self-care. Self-care for women is important. I've recorded an episode previously on self-care, so you can check it out on our YouTube channel for that episode. It's important to practice self-care. Women tend to neglect themselves. Women tend to take care of every other person and every other thing against themselves. So when it comes to self-care for women, it's the word attached to self-care is intentionality. You are intentional about paying attention to yourself physically. When you pay attention to yourself physically, it helps to boost your confidence level and you're not comparing yourself with someone else. Emotionally, pay attention to how you feel. Don't neglect how you feel. If you're feeling good, kudos, clap for yourself, you're doing well. If you're feeling down, don't push that feeling to one side. Pay attention to that feeling. Try to sit with yourself and, if need be, with someone else to try to figure out why you are feeling this way and what you can do about the way you are feeling. Don't neglect yourself physically, emotionally, and above all, mentally. This takes me to the next point, which is seek professional help when necessary. It's very important. Once you notice that you are not yourself, don't die in silence. Once you notice you're going through a stressing moment or season in your life, and maybe you are easily irritable, you are unmotivated, you don't want to get out of bed, you are either not eating or eating too much. Once you just notice there's a deviation from what your normal response would be to a situation or the normal way you would feel because you are going through a stressing season or a triggering season, that is the time you need to seek professional help. Don't feel like you've got it. Don't feel like you can figure it out on your own. Seek help from someone who will objectively listen to you and help you navigate that season of your life or that feeling you are experiencing. It's never too late to seek professional help. Once you realize that there's a need for you to talk to someone, please talk to someone experienced, because most of the times you may have to share things that are confidential and it doesn't have to be paid. It can be just seek for professional help. You could walk into a hospital, speak to a doctor who can recommend someone you can speak to. That's the simplest way to go about it. Someone within your budget, or you could go for, if you can afford it, group or individual therapy. Very important. And the next thing you need to do is to practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. The opposite of comparison is contentment. And when you're content with something, you're grateful for the things you have. When you intentionally sit down to think about reasons why you should be grateful, it helps you reflect, it helps you meditate, and it helps you not to compare yourself with other people, because other people that you may think are better than you may actually be going through something worse than you are going through in a different aspect of life. So as women, let's learn to be grateful. Be grateful for the little things, the little basic things. Let's learn to be grateful. When you practice gratitude, it helps you channel yourself into things that are positive, which leads me to the next point. Surround yourself with positivity. Don't allow yourself to be roped into any negative vibes around you, whether it be through social media or through media itself, that's music or movies, whether it's company. Review the people in your circle. Anyone that brings a negativity to yourself or your space, you need to cut yourself off every form of negativity. And it requires wisdom, because sometimes you may not be able to cut off completely. For instance, if it's a family member, you can't cut off per se from your family, but you could set boundaries. You could draw and set boundaries so that that negativity doesn't have an effect on you. If you are in a WhatsApp group, for instance, and you know exiting from that WhatsApp group will not really be the best, but you are trying to curtail yourself from some form of negativity, you can archive it. That's what I mean by setting boundaries. This is just an example. So let's learn to set boundaries to protect and guard our hearts and our minds. The mind is a gate through which certain things pass through into your mind. So you need to watch what you see, watch what you hear, watch what you say, watch what you expose yourself to, watch where you go. That's a way of surrounding yourself with positivity all the way. And also, another thing you could do to ensure that you improve your mental health is to be physically active. Very important, either in the form of exercise, whether it's a walk, whether it's aerobics, whether it's getting an accountability partner, but keep yourself healthy. Keep yourself healthy. It's very important. We're also going to be having an episode where we're going to be talking about fitness for women. So it's important for us to be physically active. Why? When you're physically active, we've talked about hormones. Certain hormones are released to relieve you of stress. When you're stressed, cortisol increases. That's the stress hormone. When you're under stress, cortisol increases, and it increases your tendency to be anxious. They call it the fight or flight response. So you're easily anxious, agitated. But when you exercise, contrary hormones are released to help to reduce the level of the cortisol in your bloodstream. And it helps you to also feel relaxed. So you're channeling your energy into something positive and into something productive. So you should aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise every day. Keep yourself physically active. Don't be sedentary. Also, women do not sleep. Women don't sleep. There was a time in my life where sleep was a big problem for me because of the nature of my job. Then by the time I started having kids, work, school, everything combined, women are always super active, always doing things, and we don't pay attention to sleeping. So it's important for us as women to prioritize rest, prioritize sleep, pay attention to yourself. Sometimes just take a break, turn off the TV, and keep your phones aside. Even if you can't sleep, just lie down, just rest. Don't be engaged in so much. Just relax and just rest. By the time you wake up, you feel more refreshed. And when you rest and you sleep, your brain also rests and it sleeps. You make better decisions when you are well rested. When you are stressed, that's the worst time to make decisions. You may just flare up. I know it has happened to me severally when I'm under so much stress. I take it out on my kids. I take it out on my husband. So, but when you rest, and sometimes when you're going through things that can be overwhelming, while you are resting, you tend to reflect and think And by the time you wake up, you've had time to process that situation, and you would see that because you were able to take out some time to rest both your body and your mind, your judgments will be a lot better. Because when we assess mental health, there's something we call mental state examination. One of the things we assess is judgment. A part of the brain controls judgment, the kind of judgments you make, the kind of decisions you make. Some people's decisions are poor. So you will say judgment is poor. So all these things, as little and insignificant as it may look, is really important. And the last thing you need to do to improve your mental health is to let go of offenses. Don't keep things in your heart. Don't keep things so long in your heart. That's why the Bible says that let the sun not go down on your anger. When he was saying let the sun not go down on your anger, he wasn't trying to say, oh, before it's night, any situation you must sort it out. No, what the Bible was trying to say is don't let things linger so much in your heart that it builds up from being a hurt into being an offense. Let go of hurts and offenses. It may be hard, it may be tough, but when you do it, you will discover that you experience some form of peace. Let your life not be full of too much controversies, things you have control over. Address those things. Actions that your own actions, you have control over it. Address your actions. You may not have total control over the actions of others, but look for ways to ensure that you live in peace. Let there be this peace of mind. It's a virtue. Once you have peace of mind, you are not overthinking things, you're not getting offended easily. No matter what anyone does to you, you just experience this peace. So these are the 10 things that I recommend for you to improve your mental health. It's important as women that we can't be productive if we are not in the right state and frame of mind. For women, once you want to destabilize a woman, destabilize her in her mind. Let her be emotionally unstable, and you have destabilized her, you've gotten to her. That's why you see for women, we're so moved when it comes to things that have to do with family. Maybe our relationships are not working as we want to, or our children are not doing as well as we want to. We get so overwhelmed. The things that affect us are more of emotional and mental things than physical things. For men, when they don't have money, they are so bothered. But for women, whether you have money or you don't have money, that's like you can always figure it out. But once something that affects you emotionally is destabilized, it destabilizes you instantly. So please, let's practice these things to improve our mental health. And I want to hear from you. What are some other things we can do as women to improve our mental health? Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. I hope you were inspired to keep taking steps towards living out your dreams. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to share it with other women and leave us a review on our social media platform, which is in the description box. Also, feel free to subscribe to our channel to get notified of new episodes. Till I come your way on our next episode, keep living, keep dreaming. Bye for now.